probably even touch potential. I mean, there's so many Game of the Year candidates for this year, but it's definitely going to be within my top 5 for this year for sure. Probably top 3 bare minimum. Okay, so Lost Judgment has finally it's Judgment season for me.
Me next week.
Like I said before, so I got to give a shout out to JG off of Gaming Illuminati, because I remember it was one of their GI podcasts, I believe, and I was listening to it, and I think he was saying they were talking about games that they were playing, and I think JG said at the time back then he was like, "Oh, I'm playing this game Judgment. This game is low key probably gonna be my game of the year." So I'm like, okay, I heard a little bit about this Judgment stuff. So I waited until it was on sale. I played like the first hour of the game and I was instantly hooked from start to finish, to the point where I had to tell the homies about the game. Chris got the game and he was hooked on it. And it was just one of those surprise hitters for me. Like, I was not expecting to enjoy the game as much as I did. Of course, for those who don't know, Judgment is like kind of a side series to the Yakuza franchise, where instead of you playing as Yakuza, you play as a detective. His name is Takayuki Yagami, runs the Yagami Detective Agency. And as far as story is concerned, I don't want to spoil a lot. I'm not even at like those moments at Judgment. Like, I haven't gotten to like the real juicy moments. It's starting to get there for me. So the basic plot synopsis of Lost Judgment is basically, there's this policeman, his name is Ehara, and he was arrested for groping a woman on a train station. And during his trial, and that's why I say I'm not spoiling stuff because it gets real juicy. During his trial, where he's basically being found guilty, he essentially goes up to the stand. He's like, "Do you have any last words to say before we finalize your case?" And he's like, so there's a body that has been recently discovered. It belongs to this student teacher named Mikoshiba. He's the man who was responsible for driving my son to commit suicide 4 years ago. At this point, you're about to receive notification that his body has been found in an abandoned building in Yokohama. And he's basically like, fuck the judgment system. Y'all can't do shit. And now it's like, at that point, they're like, okay, do you have something to do with the murder? But Ehara just got found guilty of being a groper, not a murderer. So now he has the perfect criminal system. Now he has the absolute perfect alibi. So basically, our objective is essentially finding out how he connects to the murder, how, like, accomplices, links and stuff like that. How is he connected to this murder? The true motivation. I mean, the basic motivation is that the guy was responsible for his son committing suicide. But I think there's a bit more to that than that, because the way that this nigga dies, and they show it in the game, is fucked up to the point where it's like, okay, I get that he made your son commit suicide, but y'all literally executed this man. Like, it's some rough stuff. So that's the basis of the story. Really good. Compared to the last game, I'm definitely a bit more into this one. Because whereas the last case was like finding out about the drugs and shit like that and how it connected to the murder that made Yagami quit being a lawyer, this one is more so like, how did this nigga finesse the justice system like that, dog?
He said, look, y'all gonna convict me for something.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take the lighter crime.
He's like, yeah, he's literally like, I'd rather be convicted of being a pervert than a murderer. And the funny thing is that in the game, as soon as it comes out to light that because it wasn't public at first, but as soon as it was made public about the death of the student teacher in relations to him making the police officer's son commit suicide, everybody was like, it went from this policeman is a fucking pervert to this guy's a freaking vigilante hero. Like, so he literally, not only did he finesse the justice system, but he finessed the public perception of himself as a result of being convicted of being a fucking pervert, a predator. He finessed a lot of people. So that's why I'm a lot more interested in how everything goes down in this game. So, okay, I have to call Sega out on this. Y'all bogus as hell, Sega. Because there are some things in this game that are restricted to DLC. So I'm gonna say the two things, or the three things. So it's one DLC that you get to play as Kaito, real ass nigga.
Hey.
I think that's post game stuff. So I haven't gotten to that. There's two DLCs that happen in game.
What you just said, bro. You don't know how excited Kaito is my favorite fucking character in that game.
G.
I am so fucking excited.
And he a real ass nigga in this game too, G. Real ass nigga, G.
I'm so bad because I don't know if y'all ever felt that, but Kaito got death written on that nigga forehead. So it just he seemed like the character just death.
Like even like in the trailers when they show Yagami like crying, like no, I'm like, it better not be Kaito.
Okay, I ain't gonna lie. It's a lot of people within his little friend circle that have several death flags on them, G. That is like damn, I don't know who is that. So like if y'all remember from the first Judgment game, the dude who had the mask on and then the little geek, the computer dude. So they end up forming their own detective agency in Yokohama. So you get to assist them as well because you're based in Kamurocho and they're off in Yokohama. So the game has two maps, Kamurocho and Yokohama. Yokohama is massive. For people who've played Like a Dragon, you'll basically kind of see the same setting, but there's a lot of different things to do there. So the two DLCs that I'm particularly kind of, this comes with, not being broke, but so in the first Judgment game, you had access to like what they called the girlfriend system where you could romance 4 girlfriends in the game. They bogus as hell. So in this game, you have 1 girl who you can romance and 3 of them are locked behind DLC, G. Like, they bogus as hell, G.
They said you want some hoes, nigga.
They said you gotta pay for the hoes, G. You gotta pay for the hoes, G.
Hey, we're the girlfriend.
Yeah, you gotta pay for the hoes. It's funny. I just got done romancing one of the DLC girlfriends, and she's actually kind of funny. So yeah, I gotta call you out on that, Sega. And also, the biggest thing that they introduced in this game is called school stories. This shit is some of the most fucking it's like they basically tacked on like another 20 hours or so into the game with school stories. So basically, when you're in Yokohama, you're trying to establish a connection for the bigger murder case that's going on. So in order to do that, Yagami infiltrates the high school in which the son attended, which is called Seiryu High School. Within that, basically, you're introduced to this girl, the second year student. Her name is Amasawa, and she is the president of the Mystery Research Club. So in order for Yagami to continue to investigate the school, he has to kind of become an advisor to a club. And so he becomes an advisor to the Mystery Research Club. And in that club, she tells him about a separate thing that's happening within Yokohama, where there's this dude who's known as the professor, who is basically making a lot of the students of the school commit a lot of delinquent shit. So your job as an advisor in that school is to infiltrate various clubs as like an advisor and essentially find out within those separate advisors issues that will ultimately lead you to the professor, who's the one who's causing a lot of the students to become delinquent. So you infiltrate like the dance club, you infiltrate this esports club, robotics club, a motorcycle club, a skateboarding gang, a motorcycle gang. Like this student, there's this one case where this is a student who's been doing a lot of gambling. So you infiltrate a casino There's another case where you have to infiltrate this boxing ring. So you actually get to box in the game too. And it has different combat styles than the original. So it's a lot of stuff. The shitty thing about it is that it's locked behind DLC again. So if you didn't get the DLC,
damn, Sega?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's shitty, but I will say that I can understand to a point why they make it DLC, because it really is an expansion to the original game. Like the base game already gives you a shit ton of stuff to do. The school stories adds like so much more stuff for you to do. It's ridiculous. It's all really good. It gets you really engrossed as far as like, okay, not only do I want to find out about the murder mystery at large, but now I want to find out who the hell this professor is and why is he so interested in doing the things within Serio High School. So really good stuff on that end. So as far as it being like, as far as the value from the first game to the second game, it's already there in abundance. Gameplay wise, I'll start with combat. So combat, you still have the two styles, the tiger, I forgot what the other style is called, and now they added a crane style, and now you have this new snake style. Snake style, I fucking love it. That's my favorite freaking style to use in the game. It's basically a style that
four now, or is it?
It's three.
Four style? Oh.
Three.
Okay. It
was two in the original. They added one for now. So snake style basically is a counter style where essentially if you deflect your enemy's attacks, what'll happen is they'll get scared. And essentially you can use one of your EX gauges, which is like your finisher moves, and Yagami will perform an attack that basically scares the shit out of him. Like it's this one that I like where he basically like plants them against the wall and then he like punches the wall, but then the camera pans out and it shows him like doing this, and the dude is up against the wall and he just faints, and I'm just like, yo, that shit is so cold. Like the one where he's on the ground. What's up?
You know, when they introduced that style to them kids,
yeah,
I beat the shit out them kids.
I know I wasn't supposed to. Were you? I was like, yo, you beat up kids?
Yeah. So yeah, it was basically, I like the way they introduced it as far as like he's not. Story-wise, Yagami's not the type of person to beat the shit out of a kid, so he created a style that basically scares his opponents. But you can still beat the shit out of them in that style. It's fucking amazing.
Beat the dog shit out the motherfucker. Niggas laid out.
But yeah, I love that style. But the main styles are different. Like the tiger style is still really good against one-on-one opponents, and the crane style is still good against AoE opponents. They added a cool new gameplay thing with the crane style where like he'll leap into the air and you can do like an attack in the air. It's really cool stuff. So gameplay wise, it's still like you still got your classic Yakuza shenanigans with some new stuff that they added in. So if you are concerned about did the game degrade or anything like that as far as from a gameplay perspective, no. As far as being a detective, so they added a new stealth mechanic where basically there are certain times in the game where you infiltrate a building and you have to walk around stealthily. You can throw things at people to distract them. You can take them out. They also added a parkour feature where during certain points in the game, you can climb up buildings in order to access points to infiltrate and stuff like that. That's pretty cool. And they added a skateboard mechanic for you to have more easier way to traverse through the city. So if you don't want to take the taxi, but you still want to kind of go around the city, you have the skateboard mechanic. They also introduced the dog as well, where the Amasawa, who's the person who's in charge of the Mystery Research Club, she has this dog in which she basically taught how to be a detective when he was a puppy. So you get introduced to him and basically he'll sniff out crimes for you to solve. So you'll get like random side quests if you choose to like walk him around the city and he sees that there's something going down and he'll lead you to that crime to solve. Really cool stuff. They also added another feature where there's this chatter app where if you search up for keywords within the city, they'll lead you to other cases that you can solve. So it's not necessary. It's kind of like hidden side quests basically, where it's not necessarily like, hey, look at this board of side quests for you to do. It's more so on your own time as you're going through the city, you'll hear conversations and you'll pick up keywords, and if you enter those keywords into the app, they'll lead you into different crimes to solve. So all in all, there's a lot of shit for you to do in Judgment. The mini games are still there. Like I said, the school stories already introduced a shit ton of games for you to like. The Robotics Club has its own mini game. Dance Club has its own mini game. Skateboard Gang has its own mini game. Motorcycle Club has its own mini game. There's so much stuff for you to do in the game that it's just wild. So like, all in all, if you are a fan of Judgment, yes, get this game. I will preface by saying get the DLC too, because the school story stuff is really good. I mean, if you want to pay for the hoes, go ahead. I ain't gonna blame you. But I say get the DLC more so for the Kaito DLC and for the school story stuff, because that stuff is really, really good. If I were to give this a rating, I got 20 hours into the game so far. If I were to give this a rating, for now, I'm gonna give it like a 9 out of 10. And I think by the time my ratings can change. For now, I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. But this game can easily go to a 10 out of 10 and probably even touch potential. I mean, there's so many Game of the Year candidates for this year, but it's definitely going to be within my top 5 for this year for sure. Probably top 3 bare minimum, because I've been hooked on this game ever since it came out. It's a damn shame that Kina came out. That's why I wish that Kina came out last week or some shit like that, so I could play that game and then play Judgment, because I want to play. Yeah, because I want to play Kina, but like I get to doing a whole bunch of side quests, or I get into the story of Judgment. I'm like, I want to play you, Kina. Can't do that shit. I gotta play Judgment. So Lost Judgment, absolutely loving it so far. I really have no negative things to say about the game except for the DLC shit, which is why I'm giving it a 9 out of 10, because I gotta call you out on that, Sega. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I'm too sick. I'm too sick. I'm too sick. I'm going sick.